So, if you're Muslim, chances are you've heard the hadith that marriage completes half of your deen. I often find myself questioning what is the legitimacy of this hadith and how does it coincide with the fact that modern day Muslims are actually obsessed with marriage. My name is Shaif. I make videos about history, cultural commentary, and spirituality. So go ahead and give me a follow before we hop into the video. Marriage in the Muslim community is something that has been definitely commodified in a way that is beyond what I'm sure we could ever think of. And one of the ways in which Muslims seem to be obsessive over marriage is the growth of marriage content in the last decade on social media. So we see the commodification of marriage online, but specifically when it comes to Muslims and Muslim relationship dynamics. And it got me thinking about how modern day Muslims actually interact with the idea of marriage, as well as some of the religious propaganda we've been subjected to around the idea of marriage. There is a popular hadith that is often quoted, which states that marriage is half of your deen. Looking into this, I actually found that the popularity around this hadith is tied to a number of Islamic revivalist movements that seem to be challenging Western ideals. Now, throughout history, this hadith has been disputed on whether or not it is quote unquote strong hadith or one that has been fabricated. And a lot of scholars have leaned on the fact that it is in fact a fabricated hadith. What's interesting is that the way this hadith is propagated, specifically through Islamic revivalist groups like Jamaat-e-Islami and the Muslim Brotherhood, who see a upsurge in Muslims moving into the West and decide that it is important that they push this as an ideal to promote Islamic family values. I think that this opens up a broader conversation around the way in which Muslims consume marriage as content, consume marriage as commodity. The way in which we push the ideal of marriage is very much based around the idea that marriage is for consumption. So if we think about our relationship with marriage as a community, it's gone from very much something that we see as a covenant with God to something that is more so about the aesthetic of being Muslim, something more that's about the aesthetic of being someone who is quote unquote fully Muslim. And I think that strips its spirituality, that strips the way in which we both think about Islam and marriage as an institution that is sacred. Muslims didn't become obsessed with marriage because of Islam, but Muslims became obsessed with marriage because of a relationship with navigating modernity.